The chill of dawn still clung to the Utah desert when the Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch team gathered near the cavern's edge. Mist hung low over the rocky basin, the air thick with the smell of minerals and damp earth. Duane Ollinger stood with a determined look, his boots caked with the ranch's signature mud, while Chad Ollinger and Eric Drummond prepared the excavation gear. After months of chasing anomalies, strange radiation readings, and shimmering fragments of metal, they were about to confront something far more unnerving, something human. For weeks, the ground-penetrating radar had been returning strange shapes beneath the sediment of Pit 4, a hollow space, followed by what appeared to be rounded contours unlike any rock formation. Eric, the geologist, had insisted it was an odd mineral deposit. Chad disagreed, and Duane, as always, trusted his instincts over the instruments. By mid-morning, the team had unearthed something they could neither explain nor deny: a fractured human skull, buried alongside fragments of ornate metal, possibly silver or gold, tarnished by centuries underground. The unearthing the first sign of the skull came as the excavator blade scraped a layer of compacted clay. A dull thud echoed through the cavern, followed by a hollow sound that made Chad freeze. He stopped the machinery and crouched down, brushing away dirt with his gloved hands. Beneath the clay was a pale arc, smooth, almost polished, but unmistakably bone. The men exchanged wary glances. They had found countless oddities on the ranch: ancient coins, wooden carvings, even lumps of unidentifiable metal, but this was different. Human remains carried a different kind of weight, one that stretched beyond the usual realm of treasure hunting. Eric used a brush to clear the object carefully. When the full shape emerged, the skull was missing its jaw, but the structure of the eye sockets and the brow ridge was intact. Beside it lay an object that glimmered faintly in the lantern light: a small engraved disc of gold, half buried in the soil. The inscription was weathered, but faint etchings of geometric patterns and unfamiliar symbols could still be seen. It looked like something pulled from a forgotten tomb, not a Utah cavern. Echoes beneath the ranch Eric ran tests on site, scanning the immediate area with his handheld radiation meter. Once again, the readings spiked. The air around the skull and the metal disc was slightly radioactive, not lethal, but unusual enough to demand answers. Radiation had always been part of the mystery. The ranch sat atop geological formations rich in uranium and other rare minerals. Still, this kind of concentrated radiation, focused on a specific object, felt unnatural. Duane theorized that the gold artifact could be a form of ancient metallurgical work involving iridium or osmium, metals rare enough to distort readings. But Eric's expression darkened as he noticed something else. The soil surrounding the skull contained a residue not native to the region: traces of volcanic ash. That suggested something buried long before modern history, perhaps a person caught in an ancient cataclysm, preserved in mineral layers. The story of the skull wasn't simply one of death. It was one of displacement, mystery, and time. The chamber below us, the team dug deeper. They uncovered a small void beneath the burial site. A cavity roughly the size of a crawl space opened up, revealing wooden beams coated in calcite. The structure was clearly man-made. Duane ordered a remote camera to be sent in before anyone descended. The footage was haunting. The chamber was lined with wooden crates, collapsed and fused with sediment. A few metal tools glinted among the debris: rusted pickaxes, hand-forged blades, and something like a compass or navigation instrument. Then, the camera turned and caught a flash: rows of gold-like shimmer across the floor. Coins, hundreds of them, scattered among the mud. each carrying similar geometric engravings to the disc found near the skull. The team immediately halted the operation. If this truly was a cache of ancient treasure, they needed documentation. And if it was a burial site, they risked disturbing something far older than they realized. Unnatural energy that night. The camp was uneasy. The skull rested on a table near the main tent, sealed within a containment box. Eric stayed awake analyzing radiation data, while Chad reviewed the footage repeatedly. At exactly 2:37 a.m., the lights flickered. Power drained from the generators for several seconds before returning. The monitors displayed a series of electromagnetic spikes centered around the excavation pit. The team rushed outside, where the air shimmered faintly, as if charged by static. A low hum rolled through the ground, soft but distinct. Duane looked toward the pit, where a faint bluish glow seemed to pulse beneath the soil. They had seen phenomena like this before. Mysterio. Orbs, underground flashes, but this time it appeared to react to the skull's proximity, as if something beneath the ground recognized what had been disturbed. Eric quickly covered the containment box with lead sheeting. The readings stabilized, but the incident left everyone shaken. Ancient intrusion be morning, a new theory took hold. The combination of human remains, geometric gold artifacts, and radioactive materials pointed toward something more than coincidence. Eric recalled legends of the Anasazi, ancient people who vanished mysteriously from the region centuries ago. Local tribes often spoke of sky gods and fire metals that came from beneath the earth. Could the skull belong to one of those lost ancestors, buried with symbols connected to their cosmology? Duane wasn't convinced. He believed the treasure might be connected to the Spanish mining expeditions that once sought Aztec gold in Utah's hidden caverns. The intricate symbols could represent a cipher or a map. The truth might lie between both theories, a collision of ancient belief and later exploitation. Someone may have unearthed something sacred, tried to take it, and paid the ultimate price. Deeper Descent determined to find the source of the glowing energy, the team returned to the pit. With new safety gear and radiation suits, they opened a narrow passage into the chamber. The air was thick and metallic, almost humming. As their lights swept the walls, they found that the rock had been carved, not by water or erosion, but by tools. Strange runic marks spiraled around the chamber's core, leading toward a central pedestal. On that pedestal rested a stone chest, sealed with what appeared to be a metal alloy fused into the rock itself. The chest bore the same symbols as the coins and disc. Duane's hands trembled slightly as he brushed away the dust. He could feel the faint vibration through the stone. Eric set up a scanner, and once again, radiation surged. The chest emitted a steady pulse of energy, low, rhythmic, almost alive. The discovery when they finally pried open the chest, a gust of air escaped, carrying a scent of sulfur and damp stone. Inside lay fragments of woven fabric, turned to ash, and a set of gold bars etched with ancient writing. But buried beneath those relics was something else, a black crystal orb, about the size of a fist. Its surface was cold, but it reflected light with impossible precision, refracting tiny rainbows across the chamber. When the orb was removed, every electronic device nearby flickered. Compass needles spun erratically. The hum intensified. Eric immediately warned that the object might not be safe to handle, but Duane insisted on securing it for study. It was placed in a lead-lined case alongside the skull and other artifacts. That night, the glow beneath the earth intensified again. The ground vibrated faintly for several minutes before falling silent. Haunting theories back at camp, Eric compared isotopic samples from the skull and the gold disc. The bone's composition didn't match the expected patterns for a body buried in Utah soil. It contained elements more consistent with volcanic regions in Central America. If true, that meant the remains had been transported, possibly hundreds of miles, centuries ago. Meanwhile, Chad's footage analysis revealed something even stranger. When he enhanced the infrared layers from the chamber recording, faint outlines appeared behind the gold crates, shapes resembling humanoid figures embedded within the wall. Whether fossilized, sculpted, or something else entirely, no one could be sure. But it added another layer to the enigma, a resting place that wasn't meant to be disturbed. The return of silence the next morning, the glowing energy was gone. The pit was quiet, the instruments calm. Juane suggested sealing the chamber until they could get a professional archaeological team involved. As they packed their equipment, Eric noticed that the skull's eye sockets had changed in color. Under the dim light, the bone seemed darker, stained by something invisible. Radiation levels had dropped, yet a strange magnetic pull lingered. They left the site undisturbed, placing warning signs around the area. But even as they drove away, the hum returned, so faint it could have been imagination. What lies beneath? Weeks later, the analysis results arrived. The gold wasn't entirely gold. It contained trace amounts of iridium and osmium, metals found in meteorites. The symbols carved into the discs bore resemblance to Mesoamerican glyphs associated with celestial descent. The skull, too, was dated far older than human settlement in that part of Utah. It was as if the ranch itself had swallowed remnants of an ancient catastrophe, perhaps one that fused human history with something extraterrestrial.